and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emilia if you're new here, and this is my happy place. Right now I'm in my kitchen and I am cooking up a storm today, or rather canning up a storm today. I am utilizing all of my green tomatoes today. I have two different marmalades that I would like to make. One is with lemon and pear, a little bit of cardamom, a little bit of ginger, super delicious. I usually use that for my breakfast toast with like cream cheese, so good. And then I have a more like adventurous marmalade with jalapenos and lime. That will be really interesting. I'm thinking it suits better for cheese and crackers, maybe like brie or something. And then behind me here, this is what I'm gonna start with. It's a chutney, I guess, with like, it's caramelized with like red onion, raisins, brown sugar. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. I presume that you have that on cheese as well. It has that like deep, like really deep umami, like caramelized flavor. I bet you can use that for multiple different things. So yeah, I'm gonna start over here by the stove. This is where I will start off. I have a kilo of red onions and my tomatoes, and these are blushing. They could possibly turn red. I mean, they were so much green on them when I harvested them that I'm thinking it's not gonna develop much more flavor wise, like red tomato flavor. So I am using sultan raisins that I think will fit this recipe the best. So I'm gonna roughly chop the onions, tomatoes, raisins, and then mince garlic. 1, 2, 3. 2. So I'm gonna chop all of my onions here and then proceed to the tomatoes. And the garlic in the recipe says to mince the garlic, but I'm actually gonna use my garlic press for that. And these are already washed. I'm basically just gonna cut the top off, like so. And here is a little nick, so I'm just gonna remove that. And you can use a method to peel the tomatoes, but I am not going to. So I'll do a rough chop here as well, kind of in like quarters. I mean, I just think it's so pretty. You see, it's ripening from the inside, and I mean, now I'm rethinking. Maybe this is a more pretty suitable color for like a marmalade, because this will get brown anyway. So I'm gonna use this for a marmalade. There we go. Isn't that cool? So I need about 150 grams of the raisins. And then it said roughly chop, so I'm just gonna do a little. I don't even know if you need to chop it, to be honest, but I'm just gonna do it anyways. Oh, this is gonna be so good, I can tell. The recipe calls for cayenne powder, but I thought, you know what? I actually have chilies from my garden that I want to use. So then it says 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 2 teaspoons of sea salt, another pinch for good measure. So I need 500 grams of brown sugar. I don't have that. I have maybe, I'm gonna weigh it out. I have 330 grams of brown sugar, so I'm gonna substitute the rest with just regular white sugar. There we go. So here I measured 170 grams of white sugar. This is a white sugar with pectin. that I use for jams and marmalades and such, and I think this will suit for a chutney too. Then it says to add a liter of malt vinegar, which we don't have. So I'm using a really good quality apple cider vinegar. This is my favorite. Whenever I'm going to caramelize things, I use this. I used it for my cowboy candy. Turned out super delicious. So I'm just gonna pour this in. I mean, this is making a lot. I did not count for this much, but I'm probably gonna give this away as like Christmas presents or, you know, go away presents, which, I mean, we're probably gonna eat tons of this ourselves, but it's a perfect little gift. So what I do need to do is probably buy more canning jars for my other projects, because this is gonna take up a lot. Could even, maybe even freeze this. I mean, you can use whichever vinegar you'd like. The only acquire is that it's 5%, so that it's safe for canning and for storing. I'm gonna give it a good stir. And I'm gonna scoot it right over here, where it will basically spend the next 2 to 3 hours. First of all, we're gonna bring this to a boil. Once it's boiling, I'm gonna reduce the heat to a vigorous simmer, it says, and leave uncovered. It says to keep an eye on it and stir it regularly, especially like in the bottom where it can burn. So I have 1 kilo chopped green tomatoes and 3 pears. I didn't even weigh them. And to this I'm gonna add 600 milliliters of sugar. This is the measurements we use in Sweden. It's 6 deciliters. And I am actually doubling this batch, so yeah, just go by half if you don't want as much. So then I'm gonna add the zest of 2 lemons, and remember to buy organic lemons if you're gonna use the zest. And then I'm going to add 1 deciliter of freshly squeezed lemon juice. I also have a lemon juice concentrate that I can take from if this is not enough. So it's a little bit missing there, and I'll just fill that up with some lemon juice concentrate. And then in it goes. Oh my god, the vinegar is really getting to me. But I do use a teaspoon measurement, and I do half of ginger, and then half a teaspoon of cardamom. I've also tried cinnamon and stuff, but this is my go-to. And that's basically it. So I'm just gonna take a spoon, stir this together a little bit, and then put the stove on like a medium high heat-ish. And then this is gonna boil for about 20 minutes under a lid, stir from time to time. And I do taste this, of course, and if I find it needing a little bit more spices, I will add that. So while that is simmering away, I will roughly chop again, do the same thing with these tomatoes. I have another kilo here, and then add 3 jalapenos. I'm gonna see how spicy they are, and maybe add more or less, we'll see. And I am adding lime zest of 1 lime this time, and then 1 deciliter of lime juice, and then 6 deciliter of sugar with pectin. That color turned out so pretty, like a peach. It looks like a peach conserve. yeah, it's exactly what I imagined it to turn out when I use those half-ripe tomatoes. And this is gonna be mainly green. Suits really well. I ended up using like 6 jalapenos. I used the ones that are not hot, and the more hot looking ones I'm gonna use for my cowboy candy. So I tasted this and it's super sweet, and I think it's because of the pears. But that had me thinking, because I don't want this one to be as sweet. I'm gonna actually leave out like 1 deciliter out of this one. Or maybe even 2 deciliters. So I'm gonna start off like this, and then I'm gonna taste it and add more if need be. But then the zest of 1 lime. I'm gonna wipe the rims or the edges of the jars too with some vinegar, just to get off all of the residue. And I'll put the lids on, and then the rings. So 1 deciliter of lime juice going in there. So I've tasted it, and it's enough sugar and the perfect amount of heat. So I want this one to be a little bit more fine, since I'm mostly gonna use it for cheese and crackers. I'm gonna take my immersion blender and just go through it a little bit. Alright, so I'm gonna rinse these in hot water, just to kind of get them a little bit on the same temperature as this very hot marmalade. And I'm just gonna start filling these up. This one is a little bit thicker because, once again, mostly gonna use this for cheese and crackers. Like, oh, this is gonna be so good with brie. And such a good way to use my jalapenos. I've been quite stressed about how many jalapenos I still have. On these smaller cans, I really wish that I had some more of these smaller jars, because it's such a perfect size for these kind of like condiments. Isn't it just so satisfying when it's like the perfect amount? Like so, and they are completely submerged. And this will boil for about 10 to 15 minutes. But look at these colors. Oh, I love these glass jars too, with like the diamond shape. I have stickers that goes on here. So they look like this, and you just stick them on, and then you have like a white pen to write on, which I think it's really cute, but I don't want to put them on because I am gonna wash these in the dishwasher. So I'm gonna write on the lid here. I'm gonna see if it holds. This is always scary. Yep, that's sealed. Good. So I'm gonna remove the rings on all of these. I'll do a little test, and hopefully everything is okay. And then I'm gonna write on the lid here, since I'm throwing them away anyways once I've opened it and used it. And these ones I'm gonna keep in the fridge. They have like a screw-on lid. And then with the chutney I ended up with quite a lot, so I have this smaller one that I'm gonna keep in the fridge for like to use right now. And then 3 containers that I'm gonna try to freeze. I mean, look at this jewelry color. What's it called? This one was so good. I highly recommend this one.